My name is Rosie Bartel, and I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and an educator. And during the last 5 years, I became a person who received a MRSA staph infection through a knee replacement. And so now I'm looking at how did this happen to me, and how can I make sure this doesn't happen to a lot of other people. Before my staph infection, I was a person who was completely in control of her own life and her own destiny. I did what I wanted when I wanted. I loved my job, loved my family, loved everything about my activities. I traveled when I wanted to, and all those things changed very quickly. I mean, I was the kind of person who worked 14 hours a day and loved it, worked 7 days a week and loved it. I held 3 different jobs in the church. No matter what I did, I always taught confirmation because I love the questions kids ask about their faith at that age. I want to be the person who says it's okay not to believe everything. I want to be the person who says it's okay to leave your door open. I don't want them to feel like the door closes. I just don't. I don't like that. And so it's real important that I stay connected with that group. I love being part of my grandchildren's lives, being able to go to anything they had, anywhere. I never had to ask, is it handicapped accessible? To be giving that all up was very, very hard for me. Giving up the life my husband and I had is very hard for me. We had to sell our home or get rid of our home because of not being handicapped accessible. One reason, the other reason being financial. Nobody ever talks about what happens to you financially when a major health thing happens to you. They talk about the doctor bills, but they never talk about the other things. Everything that was important to me had to change. I had to give up my career. I had to lose my home. I had to no longer interact with my grandchildren the same way. Everything I do is different today. I still love what I do because I'm talking for patients, but it's different. I'm no longer doing the job I thought I was going to do till I was 75. IHI, which is the company, came out to our home here in Wisconsin and said, could we videotape you and make a video that we could share with our Project Joint hospitals? I said yes, and the video was made, and it kind of went viral with them. And then I was invited by IHI to go to their national forum last December to be just part of their patient faculty. And I did that and spoke to several groups of hospitals and CEOs there, and met just on one-on-one with a lot of CEOs from hospitals. And so Maureen said to me, would you be part of our chairmanship, our planning committee for next year's forum in Florida? And so I am now chairing with 3 other people who are very educated in the medical field. The focus of IHI is all about patients. And so to make sure that focus is strong in their forum next year is our goal, is that everything from the meetings with the CEOs to the meetings with the nurses to the meetings with doctors, that they're all focused on what will this help, how will this help the patient, that the patient is center of everything. Now you think that's silly, that's what hospitals should be about, but that's not what a lot of hospitals are about. A lot of hospitals are about just getting the job done. Doing the surgeries, taking care of the patients, about the numbers, and they're not about how does it really affect the patient, where they stand or who they are. And what happened about a month ago, the president of IHI called me and said, I just want to pick your brain. She said, what do you think needs to be done with patient advocacy? And I said, well, we need to make sure that the patients that come on board are ready to share their story, but then reach out to others and not to say, what are you going to do for me? Because if you're still in a state where you need to be fixed and you're hurting and you're angry and all those things, then patient advocacy is not for you. Patient advocacy takes lots of work. It means that you can't be thinking about yourself. You need to be thinking about how is this going to help the next person? Because what's happened to you has happened. It won't change. Tomorrow won't be better. It won't fix it. But what you need to do is say, okay, this happened to me, now what am I going to do to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else? And that's been my goal from the beginning. I don't want this to happen to anybody else. All they said is she has a MRSA staph infection and they're going to have to amputate her leg. And that's all they knew. And so Diane came back in to get her purse and brought the lady with her and said, Rosie, would you talk to her? Would you tell her your story? Would you tell her what to expect? What kind of questions should she ask the surgeon, the infectious disease doctor? What kind of things she should be looking for? And I guess that's one of the things I'd like to see happen on my site, was that people who sometimes don't know what to ask, they could ask me, and I could help them formulate their questions. Because I think sometimes you get so deeply involved in the situation you're in that you don't know what to do. And all that happens is tears. This is not about money. I mean, money's not going to change my world. It's not going to change what happened to me. And it's not going to help anybody else a whole lot. I mean, I could have all the money in the world, but if the institutions don't make changes, then I didn't help anybody else. And I'm about helping others and making a change for the future. I'm not so much about suing. Yes, there's a part of me that says, it would be nice to have some money some days, because it'd be nice to always be able to pay the doctor bill when it comes and all those kind of things, and maybe suing would help that. But on the other side of it, suing is the thing that I think people that are angry do. I mean, when they're still angry and hurting, it's easier to sue than when you already have moved on, and I've moved on. From the moment they told me I had 30% chance of living, all I kept thinking was, how was I going to continue to do the job? I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter for what I believe. And I believe, just like I believe in Catholic education and Catholic faith, I guess that's now how I feel about making a difference in patients' lives. This is about my faith. This is about who I am. It's connected to, this is all connected to my faith. Because if I didn't care about my neighbor and who my neighbor is, then I couldn't do this. And that's, Jesus didn't just say, love yourself. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. And so, if I'm going to love myself and be okay with this in my own self, then I have to make sure that it's okay for other people. Okay, now you got me.